The 2018 National Football League Draft is over. We got winners, we got losers. We're going to break it down for you.
Go Bridgeside!
Welcome back. This is the Brooklyn versus 2018 NFL Draft Recap with your host, Win. I got Chris, the analyst venture on my left. I got Philly Cags, Dr. Sports Science. And I got Donnie B. Borst with his fantastic Pirates camouflage jersey. All right, Donnie, I'm going to kick it to you just because you wore that jersey.
Sure, I guess that makes sense.
We're gonna
Best dress goes first.
We're going to start local. All right, Donnie, you're a Jet fan.
Yep.
What do you think of the Jets draft? How'd they do?
The Jets got an A on the draft. Day one.
Day one, okay.
I'll give you that, Chris.
Day one.
I know you're hating. They did get a day one grade of A, and it's because of Darnold.
Okay.
That's it. Because they got the guy who everybody thought was going to be the number one pick in the
Except
draft.
the Cleveland Browns, but continue.
But that's miserable, though. I mean, come on.
do you
Baker
mean?
Mayfield shouldn't have been the first pick. It should have been Darnold, and that's
don't
why the
know
Jets
that.
get an A. Yes,
You
I
don't
do
know
know
that.
it.
Why
don't
don't you
know
know
that.
that, Chris?
Because there's no guarantees.
Well, there's no guarantees
there's
in
any
life.
pick.
Elaborate
Yeah,
on that.
but why is it the wrong pick? You don't know that for a fact.
So let me.
I do know it.
If you were the
Crazy.
Cleveland Browns, who would you have taken number one?
Because they had all these picks. Honestly, with the first pick,
Yeah.
I honestly wouldn't even use that pick. I would have traded down since you have a fourth pick anyway.
Why would you?
Because here's my theory, right?
You're so
Let him go.
bad.
You have,
Okay, sorry.
you have Tyrod Taylor, okay? You just got Tyrod Taylor.
You're not getting him for the future, though.
All right,
it's
let
not
him
about the
defend it. Let him
future.
defend it. I need to hear this.
Fine.
It's not about the future. Look, you got Tyrod Taylor. I think he's going to be good, and that's just me.
I agree
But
with you.
whatever. He's got all these weapons now. It's a beautiful thing. He's got running back. He's got everything he needs, right? So why, 2 years, I think at least Tyrod Taylor lasts in Cleveland. So why get a quarterback at the first pick right away? You don't need that right now exactly. I think what they could have done is trade down, got a lot more picks for such a valuable pick, right? In the fourth pick, they could have took whoever they wanted. Denzel Ward, they could have took another quarterback because still on the board at that point was Josh Allen, was a project, which is okay because Allen's a
Was
project
Rosen.
because he could sit under Tyrod Taylor for 2 years.
All right, can I just say
Similar
one thing?
quarterbacks.
Let me shoot that down right now. Tyrod Taylor got benched week 9 for a guy who threw 5 picks.
But that was a terrible benching.
Okay.
They almost didn't make the playoffs because they did that.
I agree.
That was
a terrible
It was a
coaching
horrible
decision.
benching. But he can't be that good when you're
No.
being benched.
He's
not
okay.
that
He's
bad.
not that bad.
He's
But
underrated.
he's not a franchise
He
quarterback.
plays a little too
You have the
conservative
first
at
pick-
times. That's what
I'm
happens.
not
Listen.
saying he's a franchise quarterback.
Okay, but you're
you want
defending
one.
it because you're saying not to take
No,
a quarterback.
what I'm saying
so if
is-
you're not taking a quarterback, you
Well,
think he's your franchise.
what I'm saying is
we're getting
Tyrod-
hold on, we're getting off the Jets here. All right, I just want to
Get
stay on
back
the
to the
Jets. Let me
Jets,
get back
yeah.
to the Jets. So you like
get back
Darnold?
to it.
Well, so
You
no,
like-
the day one, the Darnold pick is great.
Yes.
They didn't have as many picks. They only had 5 picks in the draft as a result of the trade.
Right.
So day 2, they got a defensive tackle. They needed that. Wilkerson gone. They needed to stop. They needed somebody in place for that. And you're not going to replace Wilkerson, but it is what it is. And we got a tight end who we also need. He shouldn't be starting this
Harden.
year. They'll still have to get
is an injury
the kid
risk.
out of Miami.
Agreed.
No, but he also wouldn't be ready to play anyway. But they needed it, so it's a need
All
pick,
right,
just
so
like the tackle.
Overall, first round. I know you love Darnold. He's the
Yeah.
consensus number 1. I can't
I'll
argue
give
with
them a
that.
B+ overall for the
Phil,
draft.
Giants, thoughts?
Look, I think the Giants had a really good draft.
Okay.
I've made it clear my reservations about I did want a franchise quarterback at number 2, and I still think they would, but time will tell if that's the right pick. We know Barkley's going to be good, so we'll just talk about Barkley.
Right.
He's going to be a very good player,
He's a
if not a
stud.
great player. I think their best pick of the draft was the next pick, getting the guy Hernandez for guard.
Right.
Because they surely needed to fill up
he
the
was
offensive
ranked a
lineman.
top 20
and he was
player
ranked to be a
in the
number
second round.
1
First
pick.
round, yep.
First round, I'm sorry. So they got him at number 2, which was probably the bigger need than running back. Their biggest need was probably offensive line. We've talked about that.
And we got Solder.
And you got Solder. So now the left side
Is solid.
That's how you revamp a line. Not with
Right.
one guy. Now you have one
Two
side
guys.
that's
Two
revamped.
guys.
And the more
Correct.
important side, the blind side.
Right.
And then you finally got a linebacker. Hopefully it could be good because we haven't had a good linebacker since
And
Antonio
I'm so
Pierce.
happy that they drifted a linebacker.
And he's a pass rusher.
And we got a nose tackle.
And the new 3-4 defense. Like I said, I think the Giants did a great job. A little question at the beginning, just because of what I said, but I think Barkley's a great player, so I'm looking past that, and I think they had a great draft. I
love
really
the-
do.
I
I
love
really
the
think they had a
Barkley
great
pick.
draft.
So do I. Yeah.
I love the Barkley pick. I know they're in kind of win now mode. I know you didn't agree
Yeah,
with
I
this,
do.
Chris.
I don't
You were
agree
kinda
with the
like
win
up
now.
there.
I
But
don't agree with the win now. But
Barkley
Barkley's
was the best player on the board.
Yeah,
Consensus
absolutely,
best
yeah.
player. He listens to the guy talk. He's got a good head on his shoulders. I think it's a great pick. Would I have minded a quarterback? Absolutely not. If you said we're sitting here right now and you said the Giants said Darnold, I couldn't argue with that pick either.
And they did
right?
say they loved him early
They
on.
did.
Yeah,
they
I
did.
think
Barkley
they
was
fell
the
out of
GOAT.
love
Yeah.
with him, yeah.
But when you look at Barkley's numbers, his intangible, he's an all-around, complete back, every down kind of guy.
I don't argue with the pick.
A guy like that can bolster an offense. With Barkley, Beckham, Ingram, and Shepard, if that offensive line holds up,
and the
there
offensive
are
line.
a lot of weapons to go around. That should be an explosive offense if they hold up and give Manning some
We
time.
said the same thing last year.
And that,
But we
that's
said
why
last year because the line was the big question
Right.
mark.
And
Now
that's
it
why
should be much
Hernandez.
better.
And that's why Hernandez was the more important pick. You have all these weapons. If your offensive line can't do anything, Eli can't do
You
anything.
saw that
and
last
you,
year.
and you
exactly.
have
You
to keep
saw that
Beckham on the
last year.
field.
100%.
You have
You saw that last
to,
year.
which is a question mark now.
I
Now-
just worry in 4 years, what's the solution at quarterback?
4
That's the only-
years.
3 years. I think 2 years, to be
Listen,
honest
you
with
gotta
you.
listen.
I think 2
I
years,
think
to
maybe
be honest
next
with
year.
you.
After next year.
That's what I mean. That's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
well,
I
let
agree
it-
2 years.
I will say that I think they did a good job, and I think they will be very competitive this year, next year, and we'll see what happens. Maybe get a quarterback 2-3 years from now. You don't have to get somebody right now. They didn't love anybody. That's that.
Right.
Chris,
They better be competitive
who-
next year. That's all I'm saying. They better be competitive.
Absolutely, Chris. Out of all the teams,
Yeah.
entire NFL, who do you think had the best draft? You had to name one team. I know you were a big Lamar Jackson guy.
No, I know. I'm not going to say that because.
No,
of
I
that.
know. So is it the Ravens? I mean,
No.
they traded back. Who? If you had to pick one team,
I think it's a toss-up
Okay.
between a couple of teams. I think a lot of teams had really good drafts. The Colts, I think, had a really good draft. They filled all their needs, which was offensive line.
the Colts-
They took 2 great offensive linemen.
That's right.
First 2
the
rounds,
Colts
they got
had-
what they needed.
They had
Nelson.
four second-round picks.
Yeah.
Right.
Fantastic.
They did a great job.
That's how
Yeah.
you rebuild a team, just
Right.
like that. All
So
right.
they got those offensive
Can't
linemen.
argue
They
with that.
rebuilt. They got a linebacker. Yeah, they did what they needed to do and fill needs. I think that, to be honest, the Bills had a really good draft. I give them an A.
You like
honestly.
Allen?
I think they might be the
traded
top
around nicely,
because I like that the way they traded and got Allen. Right, they got who they
They
wanted.
didn't give up a lot to go
And-
up.
Right.
And Edmonds looks like an absolute
Exactly.
killer, too.
Edmonds was
Oh
the
my
pick.
God, yeah.
Edmonds was the
Linebacker,
better
yeah.
pick than the Josh Allen pick because the Edmonds pick, now he's still a little raw and stuff with his talent, but he's very talented. He's extremely fast. These are the type of linebackers you need in the NFL today. And the Bills desperately need that because they have a defense that's pretty good. When you talk about that corner last year, who did really well, that rookie. So to add to that middle linebacker spot is a huge, big portion for that team. I think they could be decent just based on those 2 draft picks.
No, the defense will be top.
And then another team I
15,
really liked-
10.
The Green Bay Packers did
Yes.
a great job by drafting Jair Alexander, and then they got Josh Jackson, second round, who's supposed to be a first round
Yep.
pick. That guy's a
He
top
went
20
very
player.
late.
Yeah.
I told
But
you
it's
about
so
that at
late,
the time.
and that's exactly what the Packers need because their biggest flaw is their secondary by far. Their secondary was a disaster last year, so they got 2 huge needs. They filled that, and you know their offense is weak because they got Rodgers. So that team just made their team a lot better by drafting those 2 guys.
I think the Packers
You're
are now.
right about the Packers.
I think
And they brought in a wide receiver also, which they didn't need
the Packers.
later on. But
the Packers are
Jordan
now.
Lewis,
I think with
Jordan,
those draft picks are going to compete with Minnesota for that division.
Yeah, without a doubt.
You know, I know Cousins, whatever, and Minnesota was great last year, but I think the Packers with Rodgers and that defense and now.
They'll give 'em a run, yeah.
I think they're definitely going to be in competition. For it.
The thing has always been the Minnesota defense, though.
Yeah.
Not to break off on that
I,
tangent.
to Chris's point, Josh Allen was built for Buffalo.
Yeah.
It's like
Wyoming, yeah.
Like he came from Wyoming. He's got a cannon for an arm. Weather doesn't bother him.
Run.
I mean, I think he just look at him. He just looks like a guy who would.
And he's a
flourish
good, quiet kid, and they adore their players.
They do.
Like
Yeah.
Buffalo,
The Bills
they'll give
Mafia
him
is
everything with
fantastic.
support behind him. Yeah.
And they love the pick, of course, the Bills. But yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, everyone's going to love their pick right now.
Yeah. Well,
Well, I
no,
hope.
I know.
Yeah.
But,
I
but no,
hope.
some people boo their picks when they, like the fans will boo the pick, you know what I'm saying?
Who do you think did a poor job? And I asked this to all of us. Who do you think had a bad draft where you're saying to yourself, like,
Can I jump in?
Yeah, absolutely.
For day one, the Cowboys were a head scratcher.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
The middle linebacker pick?
You had a glaring need at wide receiver. You had Ridley on the board.
I know.
Ridley's
Who's-
not that.
Everything I hear about Ridley, like they just
Little
love
He's
him.
solid.
I feel like he's a little on the
I-
side.
But
Jump
runs
in with
great,
this Cowboys
runs
pick.
great routes, great
Yeah.
hands,
He's
does
solid.
everything. Does everything else we want as a
NFL
receiver.
ready.
I got you.
Yeah.
dude.
I think it's 100% the Cowboys.
Oh, okay.
But just
I'm sorry.
overall, with a
Bad
disappointing draft, they had Ridley fall to them.
Right.
And they were actually looking at Cortland Sutton. And they avoided Ridley. They got the linebacker, who could be good.
Right.
Yeah.
He wasn't
Even
the
though
top
in high
linebacker
school
on
he
the board
played-
at the time,
he
even
played
though.
in 7-on-7,
But-
but okay.
And then they didn't make any sort of move to go up and get Sutton, who was still available in the second round.
And Colts got something, right? Was it the Colts?
I thought it might have been the Broncos, but it was one of those
I
teams
think
that
the
early.
Broncos.
Maybe the Broncos. And that was also
The Broncos,
good. They
they
had
go
a good
with-
draft.
Oh,
too.
sure.
Chubb,
yeah.
too.
Chubb, yeah.
Chubb and Miller.
A lot of people think Chubb might have been the best player on the board.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean,
And what about the Cowboys? after day one, there's reports that Witten's going to retire, and you do nothing to address tight ends.
Well, I think in the
And there was
sixth
tight
round
ends
they
available.
grabbed one. In the
Oh,
sixth
I'm
round.
sorry.
Huh.
Okay.
I'm just saying they did something. It wasn't good, but
Last question. We'll end on this. The player you're most excited to watch, Donnie.
for me, I'm personally with the bias, it's going to be Darnold, but I'm going to say Ridley.
Phil.
Saquon Barkley.
Saquon Barkley. As
sorry.
a Giant fan.
You already know.
Barkley.
No.
Oh.
Lamar Jackson.
Lamar Jackson fan. And I'm going to say
It's his boy.
When does Lamar?
And mine is really purely because he's going to be coupled with Julio
Sure.
Jones, the best wide
Oh,
receiver.
yours?
And that's what I was going to say. Falcons made a great first pick with the Ridley
did,
thing.
that
I
was
think that
good.
was a good
And who was
decision.
yours?
I would say no. The default pick would be Barkley,
Barkley.
but I really want to see Rosen play. I'm not a big
yeah.
fan of him. He's
I
got
can see
that
it.
chip on his
Yeah.
shoulder, but I kind of want to see what he does. I kind of hope he
You wanna see
crashes
if he
and
turns
burns.
into
No, I
Elijah
wanna see-
Cutler?
I'm not a fan of him.
I
Not
want
a
to see
fan.
him
Okay.
be like
Hold on,
They
enormous.
didn't need to trade up to do that. They made a mistake. Arizona also. I don't
No,
think had a
Miami
great
would have
pick.
took him.
Miami could have taken him.
Who
Miami
cares?
would've
Then
took
you don't get him. Do you really want
They
Rosen?
They
They
like
needed
him.
They
He's
needed that
injury
quarterback.
prone.
Okay.
We will end on that.
Well, I wanted to say one more thing.
Sure, Chris, go ahead.
About the Giants.
Let him finish.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Let's do it.
The Giants, I give it A-, but there's one thing that I get. I love, obviously Barkley was a smart pick, whatever, but I think Gettleman is just a little too much with his power. His head. I feel like he's all about
Explain.
he was like I'm taking Barkley, real quick. He wanted to do it. He pulled the trigger fast and everything. It was like, come on, the Bills are out there looking to move up to get a quarterback.
wanted them to
You
trade
could have
down.
You
easily
wanted
got
them to
2
trade
extra
the
first-round
picks.
picks. All I'm saying is, and the Will Hernandez picks made up for it. So that's why I give him A-. And then they got linebacker, which I knew was a big need. But what I'm saying is, what they could have did was, go back a little bit. You don't listen, running backs, I know he's a generous talent, but it's a dime a dozen. Don't say anything yet, let me finish.
Please.
There are a dime a dozen running backs. A guy like Sony Michel or Rashad Penny or any of these guys that got drafted much later could be 85% of what Barkley is, and that's really not that bad. But the value is bad because they got him in the second pick as opposed to the 30th pick. You know what I'm saying? Running backs can be good anywhere, any way,
I know,
shape,
but
or
I just
form.
have to say
That's why I still quarterback.
You were obviously
I didn't want quarterback
You were
there either.
obviously not impressed with that many players in this draft because you wanted the top 3 teams to all trade out of their picks.
No, I wanted the Browns to trade out of
You wanted
first.
the
And you
Giants
mentioned
to
the
trade
Jets
out.
also.
The Jets, I don't think. Well,
The Jets shouldn't have traded up, and the Giants should
Right, I'm
trade
saying
out.
the Jets shouldn't have traded up. I don't think the Jets should have traded up.
So you were not
That's
impressed
the
with
end.
I know they
this
needed a
draft.
quarterback. I understand they needed a quarterback, but there was plenty of quarterbacks to grab. Is what I'm
All
saying.
right, let the kid
know what I'm
get us
saying?
out.
We're out.
And that's how it's done. Yeah.
Until next time.
Go Bridgeside.
I agreed with you though, but you want everybody to trade out, so you didn't like any
No, I
players.
didn't want
Someone had
I
to
didn't
make
want
these
everybody
picks.
to trade out. I wanted-
Someone had to
I wanted
make
the
these
Giants
picks.
to trade out. I wanted
in, who's out?
I wanted
The
the Browns
Browns.
to change their
Sure,
first.
yeah.
Those are the top picks.
Huge valuable
Yeah.
picks. Yeah.